So the salt house, like a lot of the outbuildings near the mansion, were often dual purpose. So of course the salt is being stored here to keep it safe and secure, being such a valuable commodity. But also we have this large seine nets that were used in the fisheries. After the spring fishing season was completed, these nets were very valuable, and Washington wanted them well cared for. Therefore, they were brought up here to the salt house, stored in trunks such as this, where he refers to the fact to keep the mice away from them. Also, mending had to be done, as these nets undoubtedly took a hard beating during the fishing season. And one of the enslaved people, Tom Davis, was often tasked with mending these nets. The way they used the nets is quite interesting, because Washington used his small bateaus along the river to draw these nets out into the river in a big circular arc, and then work back toward the shoreline. Now, these nets had lead sinkers on them so that the large net would drop down into the water with corks on top floating on the river. And as they worked the boats toward the shoreline, there were other enslaved people that would gather the fish as they came into the beach areas. And at that point, the salting would begin. So in the spring at Mount Vernon, the records indicate that all the workforce was along the river as the herring and shad were spawning up the Potomac. They had about 7 weeks to gather as much as they could, and records do indicate over 1 million fish were gathered during this period. But again, that off-season is critical to any industry. If you don't take care of your equipment, you're not going to have a good fishing season next year. Now, the salt house also served a storage function for other items, and our 1799 inventory shows that some of the old blacksmith equipment was in the salt house. Here's one of the old bellows here, and so we know during the time the shop operated, Washington did replace the bellows once, and some of the old equipment was then stored here in the salt house. So with an estate of this size, 8,000 acres, all the various activities ongoing, storage and care of equipment was always on Washington's mind, and these outbuildings served these dual purposes.